Good afternoon, Wisconsin. Welcome to WFHR's Playmakers. Welcome to the show. Good afternoon, everybody. Have your host, James, here. I am joined by Michael this week. Thanks a lot for being with us, Michael.
Not a problem. Happy to be here.
We are going to have some fun. We'll talk some high school sports. We'll talk some Packers. We are going to talk plenty of sports and baseball today, but we are going to kick off with our Wisconsin Rapids Rafters. And not only that, but we got a special guest joining us right now. Andy Jachim going to be joining us, announcer for your 2024 Rafters. Andy, thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Appreciate you let me kick in and join your guys' show here on this beautiful Friday.
We got you in at the last minute, man. We've been waiting all season to talk with you. How has the season gone for you, Andy?
It's been a blur, to be completely honest. It is, since the middle of June, I had my family come up to visit here in Wisconsin Rapids right around Father's Day, and I've been telling people ever since they came up to visit, this season has gone by so fast. It's crazy to believe we only have 2 games left, but it's been an absolute blast, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
It's really good to hear, man. And we've enjoyed you all season long. I've been talking since game one how it's the Rafters every year knock it out the park when they bring in these kids and bring in these announcers. They do a great job every single time. Sometimes certain guys stand out more than others, so whether it's the voice or their play, the way that they call a game or anything. You sound so polished, and you have an old school kind of approach while you are also incredibly up to date and modern with things. Is that an intentional thing? Is that something that just happens organically? Is that something you worked at?
I think it's just been something that I've done for as long as I've been calling games. I mean, I'm only 22, but I've been calling games since my sophomore year of high school, and I like to think, the guys that I grew up watching and listening to on the TV side, I'm from the northwest suburbs of Chicago, so that's Len Casper, the voice of the Cubs on the TV side, and I think that old school part of me comes from Pat Hughes, the Hall of Fame legendary broadcaster on the radio side. So I like to think those two guys at least shaped how I like to call the game of baseball, and I've just been kind of running with it ever since I started last year.
Got a couple of Illinois kids here on the radio dial here at WFHR with myself as well, man, and I was going to ask about your origin story, because you actually went to school right where my parents did, over in Naperville.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, Naperville, North Central College. It was a great place for me to finish up my undergrad. They got an awesome student radio station there, and I think that's also a big part of who I am on the air today. They let me get in there and call over 100 games just in 2 years alone. So having that experience was really second to none. I know a lot of these big journalism schools offer, the opportunity to call, these high-level college athletic events, but there are really good athletes at the D3 level too. And for me, it's just about getting reps and being able to hone my craft, and being able to do that at NCC and staying close to home. That was a big part of me going there. I'm from a town called Bartlett out in the northwest suburbs, so I was about 30 minutes from where I grew up, and it was really a no-brainer to stay around home and do that and get the opportunities that I had, and it led me here. So I'm super grateful to have done that, and I always feel like I get to have a piece of me when I have that degree, because I graduated back in May. So being able to have the degree from a school, right in my neck of the woods, it's a lot more personal to me.
You are making me all nostalgic here. One of my dad's best friends growing up was from Bartlett, man. You're just really, it's so great. I'm curious, because you mentioned how your age and getting into this. You've covered baseball. Are there other sports that you have announced for, and other sports you've covered?
Yeah, so I started with basketball when I was in high school, because I played baseball up until my sophomore year of college. So my first time ever calling a baseball game was spring of 2023, just last year. So I'd say baseball is one of the newer sports that I'm into calling. But yeah, basketball, football, I've done some volleyball too, just trying to expand the umbrella a little bit and get a little piece of everything and get as much of it as I can. But yeah, if I had to say, outside of baseball, I love calling hoops. Nothing beats basketball.
Right on, yeah. I love watching, love hearing good game called, and we could always use good announcers in that sport, so that's good to hear. That's a nice thing. For this season, I'm curious, especially you get to this point, you've got a couple of games left, but we all know that this wraps up the season for this. How do you approach the games? Do you approach them any differently? Is there a part of you that wants to kind of, like the players, leave it all on the field?
Yeah, most definitely. Unfortunately, we got eliminated from the playoffs a couple of days ago, so these last 2 games aren't for anything in terms of getting into the big dance. But I think you treat it like any other game. It's one of those, just because you're out of it, the players are still going to go out there and play. I'm still going to go and call my best game. One of my mentors back at college always said, whenever you're on the air, you never know who's listening, or there's always somebody listening that, you want to make an impression on. So for me, it's just put my best foot forward no matter what the circumstances, whether we're here at Witter Field, we're out in Green Bay, we're in Michigan, no matter where we've traveled. It's every place. I'm going to treat it like it's the exact same game every time.
Andy Jachim joining us, announcer for your Wisconsin Rapids Rafters this 2024 season. It's been a blast. We've really enjoyed every call you've made, man. Have had some, well, it's the season hasn't gone the way we wanted to, maybe. There's been some really nice highlights, some really fun plays. We've had some key timed grand slams, and I've been fortunate enough to catch a lot of those calls of yours. You have a very good, solid home run call. I'm curious, do you have any you tried out first that you didn't go with, or do you have one you've been wanting to use that you haven't been able to, that you could give us right now or anything? I want to save that voice. You got a game to call here and everything, but I am curious. I had to ask.
It's funny you ask about the home run call, because as I was leading up to calling my first baseball games last spring, one of my good friends at school was asking me, what's your call going to be? And I don't really know if I have a call. It's just whatever comes organically in the moment. I know I've done some kiss it goodbyes. That one's out of here.
Yeah.
It's just kind of whatever rolls off the tip of the tongue in the heat of the moment. It's nothing that I have pre-planned out before. I just kind of roll with what I'm feeling at that time.
That's worked for quite a few announcers. There's quite a few guys that seems to work for. You've been doing an amazing job this season. We're looking forward to not just listening to these last couple of games of the Rafters, but following your career wherever you go. Once you work here in Rapids, Central Wisconsin, once you work with the Rafters, you're always a Rafter. We'll be following you the rest of your career, man. You stay in touch. Thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks for coming to town here.
Will do. Appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for having me and letting me call all 70 games on your airwaves this summer. It's been an absolute blast. I've had the ability to grow so much, and I owe it all to WFHR. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Andy. You have fun out there today, okay? We'll talk soon.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Andy Jachim joining us right there, Rafters announcer. That was fantastic.